Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Phase 4 and Institute expansion mod, which is being made by user Lucifer Diva. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is, well, a massive expansion to the Institute by adding in new living quarters, work areas, and even some interesting interrogation rooms, all of which just make sense to me, as in my opinion, for how powerful and large the Institute is supposed to be, their bunker always seemed so small. And this fixes that, along with adding in some really awesome new cybernetic enhancements, which makes the whole mod even better. So let's first talk about the expansion to the Institute, and we'll start with the East Tower, which, if you go all the way up the spiral staircase, you'll find a new door, which will lead you into the Institute Command Center. And in here, it's just awesome. You got all the screens, some guards, a little throne for you to sit on, and a door that'll lead you into another area, the Director's Retreat, which is a really cool new living area for you with, you know, the cool waterfall feature, a bedroom upstairs, as well as a workshop for all of your workshopping needs, and a bathroom which is there for looks, frankly, but it's all cool. Now moving on to the South Tower, once more going all the way up the spiral staircase, you will now find the Recreation Area, which is just a cool little retreat for your Institute subordinates to just enjoy, and also has a really nice gazebo with a water feature and a cool statue. I really like that, actually. And then next, moving on to the Western Tower, once again, moving all the way up the spiral staircase, we have a door leading in to the Residential District, which is much more expansive than the just sort of typical rooms we have in the Institute, and you can actually go through various doors around this district, which will lead you to elevators you can take to upper floors to get into the actual apartments themselves. And these have all the amenities your non-existent NPCs could ever need, including bedrooms, and even, of course, balconies to enjoy the view. It's a pretty cool little area. Now next we have the North Tower, where we again go up the spiral staircase to a new door for the laboratories. Now this one is a little bit boring, not a whole lot going on in here, but I mean, it's still a cool looking laboratory area. Now next, we actually are going to have to start going to the different sort of existing zones, such as robotics, where we have a door in the back there to the repair bay. And in here, it's just a cool long hallway with all sorts of different machines going on, and another door at the end, which will actually lead you into cold storage, where you can see loads of stored synths for future use. It is all a pretty darn cool. Now, after robotics, we'll have to go over to synth retention, which has a new door to a diagnostics area. And again, just a cool new zone, very reminiscent of Westworld with the whole diagnostic sort of cubicle areas behind the glass, but also a door to an interrogation room, where you actually have a button in here to execute said prisoner you're interrogating. Sadly, you can't actually interrogate them, though. Now next, we're going to move on over to bioscience, where in the back you have a door to Zoological Initiative Phase 2, which is a really cool place with a giant fish tank for you to enjoy, and even some sort of perhaps shark synth research station. Kinda cool looking. Now, next and finally, we have the Advanced Systems section of the Institute, where in there you'll have a door to the Institute Reactor, a very large, massive, sprawling area where you have everything from decontamination rooms, the sort of main reactor area, and of course, the reactor core itself, which is pretty awesome having all these things. After that, also in Advanced Systems though, back in that area, you have the door to the Cybernetics area, which is pretty awesome in here. As well, it's another cool little laboratory, but most importantly, this is how you get the cybernetic enhancements in this mod. If you go to the biotransference bed, you can interact with it and actually transfer your own consciousness into a synth body. And now with this, you get cybernetic enhancements, and that is awesome. I really love these cybernetic enhancements. Now, once you do go to advanced systems, go into the cybernetics room, and interact with the biotransference bed, you get a new perk, which allows you to build the various cybernetic enhancements. Now, you actually will get one of each of them after you do transfer your body into a synth, but if you ever need to make more of them or replace an old one, you just need to go to any chemistry station in the world, where you just head on down to the utilities section, where you see we have the module for encephalic overdrive, I'm probably not saying that even slightly right, an infrared oculus, a light-sensitive oculus, a localized relay, and a marker light oculus. Each have their own individual functions. The overdrive one, I'm never going to say that right, enhances your reaction speed and basically functions like jet. And indeed, it is actually a consumable resource, which is actually quite expensive. 10 aluminum, 20 circuitry, 5 nuclear material, and 30 steel for a consumable. That is kind of a lot, but it does actually work quite well, and I think it may last longer than jet. I'm not 100% sure on that. Now, the next one we have is the infrared oculus, which this one is not a consumable. It is actually technically considered armor, and it'll give a sort of red aura around any living things, which is very useful for, well, basically making so you don't have anyone sneak up on you. And as you can see, it uses the same amount of materials here, but this one is not a consumable. This one is. So kind of a little bit off there, honestly. I think these were just copy-pasted. In fact, as you can see here, all of them have the exact same material requirements, which I really do think need to be modified. But yes, the infrared one, very cool. Adds that red aura around things, making living targets easy to see. Now next we have the light-sensitive oculus, again, as I mentioned, using these same materials, and this one will give you night vision. It basically just makes the whole world brighter, but it's quite useful, and of course when you're in dark areas. Now next is the localized relay. This is another consumable one. The light-sensitive oculus, I should mention, is an armor piece, not a consumable. The localized relay, though, actually gives you a real-time teleport. When you use it, it stops the world and allows you to walk to another location within a brief few seconds, and then it restarts the world and teleports you there. It's actually really cool. I'll, of course, show all these off here in a moment. And finally, the Marker Light Oculus is another armor-based one, and this works much like the Recon one, as it'll mark targets to make them easier to find and shoot. And worked in conjunction with the Infrared Oculus is quite nice, because you can see the red hue around them, plus have their targeting thing above their head. Always fun. So let's take a look at these in action, and we're gonna actually have to resurrect one of our friends over here. So let's go get poor Will. I think that'll work out nicely for us. And let's see here. So let's stop the world, click on him, and resurrect. There we go. He is alive once more. And if we then go into our Pip-Boy, over to inventory, and to apparel, let's first start by turning on the Infrared Oculus. And again, this is going to highlight any living thing with a red hue, as you can see there. It just makes them easier to see. It's a lot better at night, of course. When it's darker, you can more clearly see the red outline, but even in the day, as you can see here, it's pretty visible. And it's just nice when you're walking around. It makes things much easier to see, so you're not quite as surprised by someone sneaking up on you. Now, if we just turn that one off, let's turn on the Marker Light Oculus, and it is not marking our fella here. There we go. I forgot you do actually have to aim at him. Again, it works like the Recon scope, so there you go. Once you aim, he is marked, and we can follow him everywhere. And once more, in conjunction with the infrared oculus, really makes your enemies visible, and that's a good thing. Now then, if we turn on, well, let's actually turn these two off and turn on the light-sensitive oculus, which, since it's daytime, is going to make the world super bright, as you can see here. Not the greatest thing to turn on during the day, but hey, it works. Now, one complaint I have with these, because they are armor, is that you can favorite them, which means, of course, you can, oops, wrong button, can add them to your quick bar, but if we say do hit 4, it will turn on the thing, such as the infrared oculus there, but if you hit 4 again, it doesn't turn it off. Adding armor to your favorites will allow you to equip it, but not unequip it, so you can't easily turn these on and off, which is a little bit annoying, especially with the light-sensitive oculus. It's night vision, and you don't always want it, so you will just have to come into the Pip-Boy and turn it on and off as you so desire. Now, as for the consumable ones, let's actually go over here and go to aid item. And as you can see here, again, they are consumable things. And if we use the encephalic overdrive one first, boom, we've consumed it. And now the world is far more slow. Again, just really working like the consumable drugs you already got in the game to do the same thing, but it's a cybernetic enhancement that's quite costly to produce. So use it how you will. What is far more interesting, is the localized relay. If we hit this one, boom, we get teleported out, the world stops, we can move wherever we want, and then bam, we teleport back in the world. And this is especially useful if, say, there's someone with a rocket launcher right in front of you, they fire, you can hotkey it to boom. Just go over to the side here, and then once you pop back in, there you go. It is just so cool. This is my favorite of the cybernetic enhancements. It's just such an awesome, fun feature to, in combat, just all of a sudden stop the world and briefly teleport in whatever direction you move. It's just so darn useful. I really, really do like this thing. But yes, that is everything really for the Phase 4 and Institute expansion. Some really cool stuff. I love all the new additions to the Institute itself, as again, it just always felt to me as if the Institute should be bigger. And with the cybernetic enhancements, it's just all the better. You got so many cool things. The overdrive one, I'm still unsure about how useful I think it is, since we do have Jet in the world, but the teleport one, frankly, this alone is worth the mod download to me. It's just such a cool ability that I will probably be using this thing a whole heck of a lot. But that is it for this lovely mod. If you'd like to have a look at it for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that's going to be it for today. I hope you have enjoyed and that you do come back for the next episode, when hopefully we'll be looking at yet another wonderful mod. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one!